Good evening. Welcome to my channel. Good evening, Sunday evening. I'm in London, the UK. We are 3 weeks, under 3 weeks into this program. And we have been talking about the cost of living and many other topics, but mainly the cost of living, because it is what everybody else is talking about. And thank you everyone who has been supporting my channel, subscribing, sharing, accessing it. I've been sharing my videos with the WhatsApp and Facebook. If you're sharing, if you're accessing from WhatsApp, click the link, because some people have been clicking on the video and they cannot find my channel. Click the link, it will bring you to my channel. And subscribe if you can, watch it, share it, leave a comment. It's very important, and I thank you for your support. We've been talking about the cost of living, and we'll be talking about many things. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, that this channel is to promote free speech, because I believe free speaking is the beginning of solving problems. And we are humans, and we face many issues. Life is about issues, and we all work for peace, individual peace, inner peace, outer peace, with the family, as individual, with family, communities around the world. Our aim is to achieve peace, and that's why I am encouraging people to participate on this channel, to contribute toward the discussion. Because when we talk, we liberate ourselves, we empower ourselves, and we learn many things. We engage, we think. We read, we write, we talk, we campaign. That is us. It's empowering. This channel is really special, and we have been 3 weeks. We have been we opened this channel 10 years ago, but we have been active about 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago now. It's coming to 3 weeks now, and we are enjoying a lot of support, and we need more support. We need more visibility, and it's my function now and my focus to try and record as much as I can. And I'm going to continue to look at the cost of living from different angles. We have in the UK government support. I'll be talking about that, but before I go fully into talking about the available support, I need to put a background to what now is producing whatever support the government is trying to give within the social welfare, within employment, within housing, transportation. Every support comes from the public sector, and the public sector is closing down. If you watch my previous video, I said it very clearly that the public sector is closed down. Really, it's closed down because the government decided to close the public sector down. And what is left now is a residue. It's a tidy up. Maybe you're going to be 50 years, 100 years, you will see the public sector, but it's closing down. And from now on, we, the ordinary people of this country, will be facing more challenges, more hardship, and it's going to be part and parcel of our everyday life. So my purpose here is to actually make sure that people are prepared. I mean, people who are interested participate with me, participate with anybody else. I mean, if there is somebody else who's talking about the cost of living. Cost of living is a sign. It's a crisis. It's not going to go away. It's going to carry on. And the prices of food, the prices of energy has gone up with COVID-19, with every other crisis. The food of products, goods and services keep going up. and it's not going to stop because normally when the market is stable, it's because the government is supporting the market. As the market grows in power and wealth, the government begins to withdraw from helping the market because the political argument is that society should now rely on the market, on the public sector to provide economic support, resources, wealth, money, you name it, is going to come from the private sector. So the solution for us now is to still get whatever help is available in the UK from the government, whether it's benefit, whether it's food from food bank, whether it is leaving your home and going to live in the community center, in churches, because you can't afford to warm your home because of the cost of energy. Whatever help is available, find it and get it. It's so difficult to get help now. The guidelines, the policy, and the processes is so complicated. It's so difficult. The government has made it so hard for people to get help because there aren't enough help. There aren't enough help because there isn't enough money. Government doesn't have money, and because if you keep putting money into the public sector, the public sector is not going to shut down. So the only way to shut down the public sector is to actually stop funding it, and that's what the government has done. Stop funding the public sector. Whatever funding is there now is symbolic, and it's not enough. In the hospital, that's affecting the hospital, affecting transportation. It's going to affect housing, going to affect employment. Employment is the primary source of income in the UK. And what happens in the UK happens around the world because of globalization. Globalization actually provides harmonization. It means everything everywhere is going to be the same. Globalization is creating a global village. World without borders, countries without restrictions. You can travel from Africa to wherever without a passport. You don't need a passport. You probably only need an ID to prove that you're a human being. That is what globalization looks like. It's a good thing. People will be traveling wherever they want. You can move wherever you want, to live wherever you want. That is what globalization means. It's a good thing. But it also means we have to shift from the public to the private sector. I have discussed this in fair detail in the previous video. And watch those videos and leave a comment below and let me know your thoughts. Feedbacks are very important. We are going to do many things. We're going to talk about many things. We are going to be agreeing on many things and disagreeing on many things about society. And I have declared that society is shutting down on the public sector. The public sector is there to help 80 to 85% of the population of Great Britain and also of the world. What happened in Britain is similar to what happened elsewhere. And that is the information you need to get. I'll be repeating this point over and over because my channel is so small. People come in and out, and I suspect they don't watch all the videos. So I will be repeating the points. They're fundamental when we're going to talk about anything at all. Anything. Just forget about the cost of living. We'll talk about holidays. We talk about shopping. We talk about going to dinner, going to going to visit friends, staying with family. There will come a time very soon. It's beginning now, when everybody in the council property, everybody in the public housing are going to lose their homes because the council will have no money to manage council property. Council property, in case you don't live in the UK, is public property. It's public building. Buildings are property, houses provided by the government to people who need it. People who need it are actually poor people. And I want to say poor people are the ones who have to work for a living, even if you are doing well. A lot of people do well if you are earning 50,000 per annum, 50,000 pounds per annum. You're probably doing well. You may be on a mortgage. Mortgage means you borrow money to buy property, housing to live in. Property means a house you live in, or a house you own or don't own, but it's a house nevertheless where people can occupy for domestic use or for commercial uses, for whatever use. A house is called property in the UK. Leave a comment below and let me know what you call it in your country. What is a property? It's the house. It's a house you build or house you buy to live in, to use it for business. It's a house. It's property. It's called property. So people live in property. They live in houses. If they don't live in houses, they're going to be on the streets. At the moment, I predict, because now people are actually being sent to churches, community centers, to public houses like the community halls. These are actually spaces, public spaces, public library, to stay there because they can't afford to pay for energy. Now, once that is done, it's not going to stop. And the cost of living crisis may stop as a crisis, but only because yes, people are doing something else. We had COVID, we had Brexit. The effects are there. They haven't changed, they've gone worse. We have the financial crash, the credit crunch. We had the war in Ukraine is still going on. It's impacting on the economy, and it's not really being dealt with. It's keep piling, things keep piling. Now we are blaming the war in Ukraine. Yes, the war in Ukraine and all the other crises are there, but it is possible even closing down the public sector are creating some of those problems. Who knows? Because the public, once you stop funding a public sector, once you stop funding it, it stops functioning. That's why in maybe 50 years, maybe 100 years, there will be no public service at all. The decline is what's now creating the crisis, the decline of the public sector. All the funding given is given now to private companies who do not actually spend it on frontline services. They spend it on infrastructure. Infrastructure is money piling up as capital for those private companies. They are taken from taxpayers and given to wealthy private companies. If you think I'm wrong, leave a comment below. Anybody who thinks I'm wrong, leave a comment below. I'm right. Because most of the money given by the government to private companies in the name of funding the public service and public sector, it goes to build infrastructure, which is actually capital investment. Capital investment is wealth to a private company, which means every time the government gives money to a private company to provide public services, whether they are the gas company, the electricity company, water company, housing, transportation, hospital, schools, or even jobs, employment, these monies are gone to build infrastructure. They don't go to build frontline service. If it goes, then it is just not enough. It's just symbolic. The money goes to build infrastructure, to build capital, to promote capitalism. Because capitalism is accumulation of wealth. So building infrastructure is a form of accumulation of wealth, which is a good thing for the economy. It's a bad thing for public service. Now, the thing about I'm going to talk about the private sector. The private sector is taking over the economy. In the UK, in the West, in the developed country, in the developing country, across the globe, the private sector is taking over running the economy, and they make money for themselves. The primary function of the private sector is to make money, nothing else. If they employ somebody so that they can make money. Once they If they can make money without employing somebody, they are not going to employ anybody. So to say the private sector create jobs is wrong. It's false. They don't create jobs. They only create jobs because they are going to need employee to service the economy, to support their business. To the extent that they need employees, they employ them. That is not employment. Employment is actually a welfare state. Employment is a welfare state. It's a public service function. People need jobs not because they are so wanting to work. They need jobs because they need jobs. If they don't have jobs in a country, they're going to die. We live in a country in the UK, in the developed world, where we don't own lands. Where is our land? Where is the land of the British people? The government took it and gave it to the rich. That is a short story now. It's taking our country and giving it to the rich. And this is going on across the globe. It's a global agenda. It's going into Africa. Africa still owns land, but not for very long. Africa is going to lose its land to the state, and the state is going to transfer it to the rich. What the rich uses the land for is up to them because it's their land, given to them by the state. Now, if you don't have land, you cannot grow food, you cannot access energy, you cannot actually build your own house. Even if you have land now in the UK, the government has laws you have to comply with, and if you don't have money, if you're not rich, you cannot build even a house, even if you own land. You cannot own land unless you are super rich, and rich people don't even need land. There are other people who own land in the country. All the land are owned by probably maybe only 10 or 15% of the population. They own all the land. It's theirs. So the British people don't have land. They don't have access to food. They don't have access to energy. They don't have access to housing, to anything. So the government set up public sector to support them. And the reason for supporting the people of this country was so that they can work to build the economy. Now, if technology matures, and it is maturing very quickly, we will not need human labor. So the government and the country will no longer need people for work. Technology will be doing the work. Robots or some other form of intelligence, artificial intelligence, like autonomous vehicle will be driving themselves. Airplanes will be driving alone. They are intelligent. It's really there. There are airplanes who now fly automatically. There are human supervisors, but they fly themselves. They're intelligent. Air France, for example, there are trucks being built which are driverless, buses, trains, driverless, and cars, driverless. They're there. They're coming within the next 10 to 20 years. Where will the drivers go? They will be jobless. Computers is not doing all the admin work. In the UK, we have only about 1% of admin roles left. This used to be the mainstay of employment. Now it is being done by the machine. The machine is doing the admin work, the computers. Even typing is so easy nowadays. You don't need really to be a good typer because the machine corrects the spellings, and there is going to come a time when you just speak to the machine and it writes a letter for you. You don't need a typist. You don't need anything. You just speak like I'm speaking now. This is good because technology is transforming society, and we're going to have so many different things. I've seen drones. These are good things. They can do. They can help agriculture. They can draw water and actually irrigate dry lands such as in Africa and other parts of the world. They can provide irrigation. It's good thing. Technology is good if you have the money. So The message here is that um, we, I mean, if you still think the government is going to help you, then think again, because the way you think is really important. It's your life. You want to live, you have to change the way you think. You want to die, think the same way thinking that, because I speak to people. People think the government is helping them. The government is not helping you. If it was, it would not have closed the public sector. It would have kept it. It's not helping you. Whether it is a good thing or a bad thing, it's up to you to decide. But the fact is that the government is no longer helping you. What help is now left is just temporary, and probably for security reason. The people, I mean, the government doesn't want you to riot. Rioting is not really a good thing for anyone. So if they get technology, everything is going to stop. They are going to stop giving you money. They're going to stop giving you anything, housing, nothing. They're not going to give anything. But there might be hope that when technology matures, we are going to technology we're going to produce goods and services for free. If that happens, then nobody has to worry about anything, because you don't need money anyway. You don't need housing. You don't need anything, because you get it for free. The machine will make things for free. And that's what I think is going to happen. If that happens, then we have to pay prices for when society is transformed from human labor to machine, to automated labor system. It's produce goods and services, because that is what economy is about. Economy is about goods and services, and that's what private companies sell. They sell what you want and what you need. That's it. Nothing too complicated about it. It's good and services, the product. And that's what business is about. That's what trade is about. That's what the economy is about. So, in principle, when we get maybe in 100 years or 200 years, when the machine become fully operational, clever machines, they will be talking like humans, probably working like humans, probably having artificial intelligence um, as clever as human, or as even better than humans. That is going to happen. And that is a sign of hope for us in terms of production, in terms of development. That is going to happen. There is hope. There's going to be wealth enough for everybody. Capitalism is going to create wealth, because they are not going to need it. Nobody is going to need anything, because machine is there building this. See, production will have no cost. So trade will be meaningless. Money will be meaningless. There will be wealth. That is not. There's nothing wrong with that. So, I mean, people may die during the transitions. People may die. I'm not saying they're going to die, but they may die. I'm sure people will find some way to access food and energy, but not from the government. That's what I'm saying. If you want to survive, stop thinking the government is going to help you. Start thinking how to help yourself. Start thinking how to do business. Learn how to do business. Go to school. Learn whatever. If you are going to learn history, learn the business angle of history. If you are going to learn physics, learn the business aspect of physics. If you are going to learn engineering, learn the business element of it. If you are going to learn computer engineering, learn the commercial aspect of it. If you want to be a cleaner, learn the commercial aspect of it. Own the cleaning business. That is the answer. That is actually a solution to the cost of living now and in the future. Because the cost of living is going to be like a badge on your back. You're not going to run. You may run, but you cannot hide from the cost of living. Because everything you do is costly anyway. You have to buy it. Do business. In Africa, do agriculture. Do whatever you need. Learn to sell things. Learn to produce things, fabrics for clothing. People will always be wearing clothing. They will be wearing shoes. Clothing actually is clothes and shoes and hats and watches. That's what clothing means. So clothes is what you wear on your body. And like hats is also a cloth. A hat is a hat. And a clothes is what you wear in your body, a shirt or a trouser. But clothing is everything, like shoes and whatever is wearables. If you can build it yourself, you can make your own shoes. If you can make your own product, why not? You can do that. You don't need to buy them. You only maybe you only need to buy equipment. I mean, this is actually a change in lifestyle. If you can build your own or self builds, you can build your own house. I mean, if you can come together as a community and start building somewhere to live, or you can negotiate with the government now, or with some private company, or with some charity, get some land, get some planning permission, build your own houses. Stop relying on the government. Stop relying on the private companies or anybody else. Nobody is there to help you if you're a family. Start working together to build a house for yourself, to create jobs for yourself. If you can. If you cannot, then pray. If you believe in God, pray. Because it is going to get harder now. Teach your children to rely on themselves, not on the government. The government said you should not rely on them. They see, especially the Conservative Party, they said they don't want nanny states. Nanny in the UK means babysitter. The government is saying this thing all the time. You don't listen. They don't need nanny states. They don't want people to be looked after. They want people to be independent, adults, mature, and they are right. Who do you think you are to be depending on the government all the time? Is it your daddy or your mom? No. Grow up. And growing up may mean going onto the street to stay there if you are allowed. If the police would allow you to stay on the street. If not, the government may have to create a concentration camp for those who don't have wealth. To teach them a lesson. Not to be poor. Some people already think being poor is a punishment from God, is sin. I covered it in my videos. If you didn't watch it, watch my videos. The facts. That is how society used to think. Religious people used to think like that. That people who are actually poor are being punished by God. And our society was created by religion. Mainly, what we see now was created through religion. Christianity, Muslim, Islam, Buddhism, they created modern society. Actually, governments came from religion, from belief in God. Especially Christianity built the Western empire. And we need to understand this. If we think these places emerged from out of the blue, and the reason the state was created was to rule over people. They didn't create it for anything else. The state doesn't exist for anything else, for rule. And you see, the reason power is associated with the economy, because somebody decided to transfuse the two, put the two together, combine politics and economics. And that's why now, to have power, you must have to have money. It shouldn't have been done like that. So now we seek power. What do we want power for? To rule over other people. And people don't want to be ruled over. They want freedom. And the only way to be freedom is also to gain power. But if you understand the pyramid of power, how does it look like? I learned it at school. I didn't know what it was. My teacher said, this is the pyramid of power. Now understand a bit more about the pyramid of power. Because see, the pyramid is structured in such a way as the base is big. Base means the lower part of the pyramid. There are 4 corners of the base. There are 4 bases. The bit which touches the ground are 4. There are 4 points. And somebody said to me, the 4 points of the pyramid symbolizes the 4 corners of the globe: north, east, west, and south. So if you set up the pyramid, you are actually controlling the world. That is what power looks like, the pyramid of power. There are four bases. It stands on four legs. Pyramid stands on four legs, and there is one tip at the top. The one at the top, the very, very man or woman, normally a man, who is sitting at the top is the ruler of the world. So what you get with this pyramid system of rule, of power, is that not many people are actually able to occupy the top position. Only one person. And then coming down in the UK, the King Charles is actually at the tip. King Charles III is actually the tip of the pyramid. As you come down, you get maybe Prime Minister, and he's, there are four always, four, five, four, five, four, five. The structure of power structure. There are always five. One at the top and four at the base. One at the top. So as you come down, there are different pyramids with different, channels of power until you reach the base. The base are actually where the many are. The many are occupying the lower area. They are the ones who have the least power. That is actually what structure is being used to create a power system which is now ruling the world. It's called globalization. The pyramid of power. You just go and do your own work and stop thinking that, because you see, the pyramid is very stable. It creates stability. It's so powerful. I mean, if you maintain the pyramidal structure of power, nobody is going to overthrow you. Because you will always, once you are at the top, you have to remain at the top. So the state is created to maintain power. Power is needed for rule. Somebody decided they are going to rule over other people. Because I think rule. Why should somebody rule over somebody else? Why? Because of violence. See, there are two sides to existence: the dark side and the light side. It's called duality. There is a duality this duality means two sides of everything. There's black and white or whatever. So, you see, when you decide to rule over other people, that is wrong. But what are we going to do? How are we going to correct it? Somebody is ruling over you. Somebody is ruling over me, and they're not going to leave power. They have to maintain the status quo, because if they lose power, maybe if you're a family, you're a cycle of rulers. If you lose power, there are two countries in Britain. The smaller one, 10%, is a country known as the ruling country. There's a bigger one, the biggest, 90%, 89% of a country, called the slaves. Somebody rules of you, you are their slaves. Okay, citizenship is a smart semantic. There is nothing like citizenship. The only citizens are actually those who live in the upper level of the country. And they are citizens temporarily. Because when, by mistake or by design, the majority of the world are destroyed, if they die or they get killed, because there is no answer to maintaining stability, political stability, unless people are killed as of necessity. Because if not, then the society will collapse. Because people will be demanding freedom, and the people who are ruling over them will always want to rule over them. But you see, people are growing in number. They are going to create instability. They are going to create instability. So it is necessary to destroy them. They may not want to destroy them, but if they want power, if they want to rule over other people, they may have to kill people. Otherwise, find another space, another world, and export people there. There is no solution. Either you should give up on power, but if you give up on power, because we are uneducated. Humans are uneducated. If you give up power, somebody else will take it up. Even the poor now, if the rich give their position of wealth, the poor will go and occupy it, and they become rich. Those who are rich now will become poor. And I'm not saying poor people are good. Rich people are certainly not good. Humans are not good because they are not educated. The reason humans are bad because all of us are not good people. We are not good because we didn't learn how to live peacefully. When I came to Britain 30 years ago, I learned something called strangers. I'm not saying Africa is good, but Africa is a bit backward in every way. They are backward in being good. They are backward in being bad. They're backward in being rich. Africa, where I come from, we are just backward. If we talk about evil, Africa is backward also. Because we in Africa still think of family, we think of communities. In Africa, where I came, when you find people sitting down in a bus or in a pub, you find people on the street, you stop and talk to them. You stop and talk to them. And you are not allowed not to speak to people. That is wrong. And it is actually not allowed at all. This was 30 years ago when I was still in Africa. When you're in a bus, you go and sit not alone. You are not supposed to sit alone. Go and sit where people are. Sit with people. And if you sit alone, somebody is going to come to you and remind you, oh, you're sitting alone. Come and sit here. In Britain, it is the opposite. You go to a park. You find maybe a husband, a wife, and 2 children and 3 children. You go and sit where they are sitting. They're going to get up and leave. Because you're intruding into their life. You're a stranger. They don't know what you're going to do. And they're right. Because that is how we are educated. You don't know them. You don't know who they are. They don't have respect. People in this country don't have respect for themselves. They don't have respect for other people. So they don't trust each other. And it is now happening in Africa. It's now happening in the Caribbean. It's happening in Asia. It's happening everywhere. People are becoming strangers. How can human beings be strangers if they are clever? They are not. They're backward. We talk of civilization. How can we talk of civilization if we call each other strangers? In Britain, where I have lived for 30 years, I have been jeered on the street for greeting people. In Africa, you have to greet people. At that time, I don't know now, but also in smaller towns and villages, in bigger towns like the capital city of Kampala, behavior of the people are actually similar to the behavior of the developed world. Because the cities are more developed than the villages. The more developed, the more allegedly civil we are, the more backward we are as human species. All we think about is money. We stop thinking about what matters. It's of priority. Love. Simple. We see stories of love on television. People tell each other, I love you, this and that. They kiss, we love you, blah blah blah. But there is no love. Where is the love? You call me a stranger and you pretend to love me. We don't love people anymore. We are lost. All we think about is wealth. Wealth is good. Capitalism is good because it has helped to create a lot of wealth. We need wealth. But we have to get our priorities right. Human value. You have to value yourself. Some people can even commit suicide to get money. Not just in Britain, not just in the developed world, but in Africa as well. Africa, who used to be backward, is catching up. Is getting greedy. Is thinking more of money. People are so corrupt in Africa that governments are actually on the verge of collapse. There is a crisis caused by corruption in Africa because of people think about money. They have no respect for themselves. They have no respect for other people. They don't respect their property, even the money they crave to get. They don't have respect for their wealth. They don't respect other people's property. That's why there is war. That's why there is abuse. What is the answer? We have to really learn to improve, to heal our culture. We need medicine for our culture. We have developed in terms of the economy in what I decided to call developmental economy. Economic development. Developmental economy. That's what I decided to term. It's a terminology I created. And the other one is cultural economy. Cultural development. Where people learn respect through education. You teach yourself, you teach your children the value of human life. You teach yourself how to respect yourself, how to respect society. That is the medicine to heal our cultural economy, to support the developmental economy. We have succeeded to be rich. It's a case of accessing wealth. Wealth is everywhere. That is a success. It's a success story. We should carry on building more wealth. It's good for us. It's good for everyone. Technology, for example, I just mentioned technology. What we have not paid attention to, what we haven't invested in, is a cultural development. The family, the individual, the community, the society. We need to mature. There is no reason why we should call each other strangers. We may not even need the law if we can succeed to polish, to develop, to promote our culture, to respect one another. Why would you be in prison? If you are actually enlightened, if you are really, really civil, how can you go to prison? Why would you steal money? Why would you rape somebody? Excuse me. So this is actually an issue of culture, an issue of education. Let those who don't have money learn to do business and access the community of the rich. You may not be a super rich because I've already explained the structure of power. Not everybody is going to be rich the same because wealth is being controlled because of power. Maybe if we substitute pyramid, maybe with circle or some other structure, then we will achieve equality. Now, equality is a myth because we are using pyramid as to measure power as a structure. We cannot have everybody accessing power. We cannot all be kings and queens. We cannot not all be head of states. We cannot all be prime ministers, CEOs. That cannot happen. We cannot all be billionaires or millionaires. There will be too much wealth, and that will disturb the economy, inflation, whatever. But when we get technology, that will be solved because we will not need wealth. When we sort out our culture, we will not need to rule over other people. Ruling over other people, when we have kings and queens ruling over people, we have prime ministers ruling, is a proof that we are backward as human species. Nobody is supposed to rule over anybody. And that's the meaning of freedom. How can we preach freedom? How can we say democracy is a government of the people by the people when somebody else is ruling over us? We are not civil. We are backward. We have to really accept that. But there is hope in that we can learn. We can change. And that's why I'm talking. Otherwise, I would keep quiet. A lot of problems I'm talking about. A lot of complications I'm talking about. But I know there is an answer. There's a solution to the problem. We have to start learning how the basics. Meet somebody, greet them. We need more communities, not less. And that's what we get in the social media. I hope it lasts. I hope it is genuine. But you see, we can congregate in an area. But we have to be individuals who are actually educated, who are matured, who knows what they're doing, who respect, who trust people. How can I be a stranger? How can I actually look over my shoulder, walking in the street, fearing somebody is going to kill me or attack me or rob me? That's what's happening in the streets of London, across the globe, in Africa, everywhere. There is a lot of violence. How can we achieve peace if we cannot learn peace? We have spent most of our time learning war and violence, corruption, deviousness. And we think we are smart. We are actually not smart at all. It's time for change. And that's why my channel is very important. And that's why you should listen to it. If you think I'm wrong, leave me a comment. There are people who are now agreeing with me that what I'm saying is right. But what I'm saying is most important because there is a solution. With or without the government, the people actually are the solution. We need families. We need individuals. If you are living alone, live alone. There's nothing wrong with living alone. But form a community of singles and talk peace. There is a way. Learn respect. 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 And more respect. That is the seed you can sow to produce the beginning of a new cultural revolution. And we're running out of time. If we continue fighting, if we continue promoting violence, we're going to die. If you're in Africa, continue to get wealth, because that is where power is. You need power to survive. Use your land for agriculture. Feed the world, feed yourself. Sell the rest. Get money. Invest more in your local economy. If you have land, before the government takes your land, develop it. If you develop your land, it's going to be harder for the government to take it. The government can still take your land because of the law. The law says the government can take land. The constitution say of Uganda or any other African country, or actually the law of any country, the government has the power to take land for development. You will be compensated, but you will lose the land, and it's going to happen in Africa sooner other than later. So if you still have land, like in my country, where we have clans, where clans have land, access the land now. Access it now. Register the land. Like in my country, Uganda. If you live in Uganda, register your land, because that's what the government said. Register your land. The government also said it doesn't like lands lying idle. It provides an excuse for the government to take your land. If you don't want, the clan should congregate. They should have meetings, work with the government to invest in your land, produce simsim, produce fruits, vegetables, fish, beef, goat meat, pork, cheese, yogurt, honey. Produce honey. Everything can grow in Uganda, in Africa. Share trees, share fruits, share butter. You name it, there is a lot. Don't sit and do nothing. Families, individuals, form communities, work together. Learn how to sell your product within Uganda, within your local village. For those who cannot afford, every clan in Uganda, every clan in Africa, leave a comment below what kind of family and political and community organization you have, a structure. Leave a comment and let me know. In Uganda, we have the clan system. And I believe in Africa, probably in many parts of the world, the clan system. In Africa, in Uganda, a country where I come from, the clans own land, the clans will sit down and start planning how to develop their land. Every garden, every land should have fruit trees. Start with fruit trees because you eat fruit. Some people are planting trees. They are planting trees. You don't eat trees. You can sell it. But you first of all plant something you're going to eat. Plant fruit trees first and then start planting other trees. And start producing food for local consumption. There should be storage, cold storage and dry storage. And this storage should be to support commerce, trade. It should also be there to provide food banks, emergency. If the developed world can produce, can set up storage for food banks, African communities can do it even better. Because the community cohesion, the community spirit is stronger in Africa, is stronger in Uganda than in the developed world. We don't call people strangers yet. We are beginning to call them strangers now. We are beginning to treat people like strangers now in Africa and maybe in the Caribbean and places like that. But we are still better at community living, community lifestyle than in the developed world. But even in the developed world, people are coming together to gather food, to give to people for free. We can do it better in Africa. We have done it. There is family welfare system for years and years in the community in Africa. We can build on that, other than depending on the state. The IMF give money to Africa to build infrastructure. African government are on specific instruction not to invest money on welfare. Welfare state is not going to happen in Africa. It's too late, too little, too late. If they try to do that, it's not going to work. Build, land, use your land, sell your product, open your banks, your hospitals, your schools, your markets, local markets, supermarkets. Open these things. Create your own schools, your own community center. Create your own, build your own villages on your land. That is what the clan should be doing. Build your community center. Start it now. Build a community center on your land now. Build houses, whether with thatched roof, with grass thatched. With grass thatch, build grass thatch roof. If you cannot afford, iron sheets, but you see, you have clay. Gather together, ask the government, send your MPs, let them build factories to manufacture tiles and bricks. Build your house using bricks and mortars with local material. There are clays on your land. Use it. There are rocks on your land. Use it. If you don't have cement in your land, get it from where you need to get it from. Build concrete houses and build community centers. Build market. Open market. Build a supermarket. Build bars. Build restaurants. Build your own airports. Build your own train station and railways. Build your own roads. Your own churches, your own schools, community centers. Build your own borehole for water. And dams to collect water. And dams to support fish ponds. Work on the land. Irrigate the land. Use tractors. Use bulls and cattle to plow the ground. Use your own hands to work. Grow rice. Grow wheat. Eradicate food poverty. Grow, plant trees to provide firewood and charcoals. Use solar panels. Buy big batteries. Get big solar panels and be energy reliant, self-reliant. Don't in Uganda, don't rely on Omeme anymore. The clan should unite and create a community center and start building solar farms to supply the village for free, or for those who have money, let them pay some fee. And for those who are actually trying to do project, you don't start raising money before you design a plan. It doesn't work. Set up an organization, design a plan, produce a budget, development budget, and raise money. You don't start raising money before you have a plan. If you ask me for money, I'm not going to give you even a penny, because I know it doesn't work. You don't start asking for money, you don't even have a budget. You don't even have a development plan. And these are actually highly educated people. And get serious and separate politics from development. Those who want to promote themselves as politicians, be my guest, I will support you anytime. But do not try to mix up politics. In Uganda, stop attacking the government. If you have political ambition, do it peacefully. There's no need being nasty to the government. Even if the government is a dictatorship. Because if you become president, you'll probably be a dictator as well. Most governments are dictators anyway in Africa. And also outside the world. I mean, even in where we call ourselves democracies. During COVID, the government instructed the country to lock down. What kind of democracy is that? What do we think democracy is? We think you do all you like. No. There is a very small difference between democracy and dictatorship, if you didn't know. So people should start thinking carefully. Don't live as if your head is for decoration. It's for thinking. And be a genius also, because you think. Everything I said is true, because everything I said was actually what the government is saying, what the media is saying. Everybody should be aware of it. At the end of this video, nobody should come to really be surprised about everything I said, because it's out there. Everybody have been talking about it. Everybody knows about it. The government has talked about it. The government of the Conservative Party said they want smaller government. They said they want to give our countries back to us. That is a conservative agenda under David Cameron. Former Prime Minister David Cameron. He said he's giving us our money, our country back. Did you hear that? The government doesn't want a nanny state. The government does not want a big state. They are giving us money back. They're giving us our country back. That is what they said. And we still wait to, thinking that the government is not going to give our country back. Yes, they want to give our country back. And that means shutting down the public sector and concentrating on the private sector. They're building back better. Using the private sector, not the public sector. They're not going to give you money for free or give you things for free. Building back better, using capitalism, the market economy. And that is the right thing to do, because, that's how to create wealth. The thing is that if you are not actually a party to the big people, to the big money, then you have to fend for yourself, try to get access to money, to the opportunities. You see? That is what it is. So, we have our works cut out. Let us get help from the government. Whatever help is still being provided in schools. But you know it better than me if you have children. You know it better than me if you have to pay bills. You know how hard it is. It is no accident. It's by design. Because the public sector is closing down. The public sector used to provide these things. It's closing down now. So now, let us all stop thinking that the government is going to help. Let us start thinking that we are going to help ourselves as individuals, as families, as communities. You see? And we will be okay. Thank you for watching this video. And I'm glad I actually recorded this video. Subscribe, like, do whatever you can to help to support this video, to support this channel. Leave a comment below. Thank you. Goodbye. Good night. Thanks. Bye.